चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरप्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत शिवासदि भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to the daily glorification of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. We are reading from Canto 2, and we are into the chapter 2, the Lord in the heart, and today we will discuss verse 31. Okay, so verse 31. तेनात्मनात्मानमुपेत शान्तम् आनन्दमानन्दमयोऽवसाने एतां गति भागवतीं गतो या सवे पुनर्नेह विसर्जेत अङ्गा। तेनात्मनात्मानमुपेत शान्तम् आनन्दमानन्दमयोऽवसाने एतां गति भागवतीं गतोऽयं सवे पुनर्नेह विशतेज अङ्ग। तेनात्मनात्मानमुपेत शान्तम् आनन्दमानन्दमयोऽवसाने एतां गतिं भगवतीं गतोऽयं सवे पुनर्नेह विसर्जेत अङ्गा। Synonyms: Tena, by that purified; Atmana, by the self; Atmanam, the supersoul; Upeti, attains; Shantam, rest; Anandam, satisfaction; Anandamayaha, naturally so being; Avashane, being freed from all material contamination; Etam, such; Gatim, destination; Bhagavatim, devotional; Gataha, attained by; Yah, the person; Saha, he; Why, certainly; Punaha, again; Na, never; Iha, in this material world; Visajjate, becomes attracted; Anga, O Maharaj Parikshit. Translation: only the purified soul can attain the perfection of associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in complete bliss and satisfaction in his constitutional state. Whoever is able to renovate such devotional perfection is never again attracted by this material world and never returns. Would anyone like to read the purport?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, can I try?
Yes, please, Mataji.
We should specially note in this verse the description of Gatin Bhagavatim, to become merged in the rays of the Para-Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as desired by the Brahmavadi impersonalist, is not the Bhagavatam perfection. The Bhagavatas never accept merging in the impersonal rays of the Lord, but always aspire after personal association with the Supreme Lord in one of the Vaikuntha spiritual planets in the spiritual sky. The whole of the spiritual sky, of which the total number of the material skies is only an insignificant part, is full of unlimited numbers of Vaikuntha planets. The destination of the devotee, the Bhagavata, is to enter into one of the Vaikuntha planets, in each of which the personality of Godhead, in his unlimited personal expansions, enjoys himself in the association of unlimited numbers of pure devotee associates. The conditioned souls in the material world, after gaining emancipation by devotional service, are promoted to these planets, but the number of ever liberated souls is far, far greater than the number of conditioned souls in the material world, and the ever liberated souls in the Vaikuntha planets never care to visit this miserable material world. The impersonalists who aspire to merge in the impersonal Brahma Jyoti effulgence of the Supreme Lord, but have no conception of loving devotional service to Him in His personal form in the spiritual manifestation, may be compared to certain species of fish who, being born in the rivers and rivulets, migrate to the great ocean. They cannot stay in the ocean indefinitely, for their urge for sense gratification brings them back to the rivers and streams to spawn. Similarly, when the materialist becomes frustrated in his attempts to enjoy himself in the limited material world, he may seek impersonal liberation by merging either with the casual ocean or with the impersonal Brahmajyoti effulgence. However, as neither the casual ocean nor the impersonal Brahmajyoti effulgence affords any superior substitute for association and engagement of the senses, the impersonalist will fall again into the limited material world to become entangled once more in the wheels of birth and death, drawn on by the inextinguishable desire for sensual engagement. But any devotee who enters the kingdom of God by transcendental engagement of his senses in devotional service and who associates with the liberated souls and the personality of Godhead there will never be attracted to the limited surroundings of the material world. In the Bhagavad Gita 8.15, also the same is confirmed as the Lord says, the great Mahatmas or the Bhakti yogis, after attaining my association, never come back to this material world, which is full of miseries and is non-permanent. The highest perfection of life, therefore, is to attain his association and nothing else. The bhakti yogi, being completely engaged in the Lord's service, has no attraction for any other process of liberation, like jnana or yoga. A pure devotee is 100% devotee of the Lord and nothing more. We should further note in this verse the two words Shantam and Anandam, which denote that devotional service of the Lord can really bestow upon the devotee two important benedictions, namely peace and satisfaction. The impersonalist is desirous of becoming one with the Supreme, or in other words, he wants to become the Supreme. This is a myth only. The mystic yogis become encumbered by various mystic powers and so have neither peace nor satisfaction. So neither the impersonalist or the yogi can have real peace and satisfaction, but the devotee can become fully peaceful and satisfied because of his association with the complete whole. Therefore, merging in the absolute or attaining some mystic powers has no attraction for the devotee. Attainment of love of Godhead means complete freedom from all other attractions. The conditioned soul has many aspirations, such as becoming a religious man, a rich man, or a first-class enjoyer, or becoming God himself, or becoming powerful like the mystics and acting wonderfully by getting anything or doing anything. But all these aspirations should be rejected by the prospective devotee who actually wants to revive his dormant love for God, of God. In the impure devotee aspires, after all, of the above mentioned material things by perfection of devotion. But a pure devotee has none of the tinges of above contaminations, which are the influence of material desires, impersonal speculations, and attainment of mystic powers. One can attain the stage of love of God by pure devotional service, or by a learned labor of love for the sake of the devotee's lovable object, the personality of Godhead. To be more clear, if one wants to attain the stage of love of Godhead, he must give up all desires for material enjoyment. He should refrain from worshipping any of the demigods, and he should devote himself only to the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He must give up the foolish idea of becoming one with the Lord and the desire to have wonderful powers, just to get the ephemeral adoration of the world. The pure devotee is only favorably engaged in the service of the Lord, without any hope of emolument. This This will bring about love of Godhead or the stage of Shantam and Anandam, as stated in this verse. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you so much. It was a long purport and you read it so beautifully. Thank you so much, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seva Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So, in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that the absolute truth can be realized in three features: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And out of those realization, Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the most complete realization. We have heard this time and again in so many classes, in Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita as well. Now, when a living entity or a soul, a spirit soul, or people like persons like us, or a sadhaka like us, after many lifetimes of the frustrated experience of finding happiness in this material world, they come to an understanding that the happiness in this material world is temporary, and that brings that living entity to the understanding or the concept of that there has to be something eternal. And why something eternal? Because we as a soul are eternal. So eternity is the integral nature of our being. So it is natural that we look something eternal. It is natural that we look something for eternal happiness, but at the wrong place. So when one comes to that understanding, it is said that that understanding or that aspect of absolute truth is called Sat understanding. Later, on a seeking further, he comes to realize that the absolute truth cannot be eternal only, but it has to be sentient. Why? Because he manages the affairs of the entire material creation. So it has to be all knowledgeable. So that brings to the understanding of a knowledge aspect or a chit aspect of the supreme understanding of the understanding of the supreme absolute truth. And one finally, after understanding these two aspects, he would wonder that supreme, apart from the eternally present, apart from maintaining and overseeing this material world, the supreme personality also has his own abode, which is separate from the creation, separate from the world that we live in. And that understanding is known as Bhagavan, where he is fully manifested in his name, fame, form, and in the qualities. And at this stage, that is the understanding of the complete understanding of a Bhagavan. Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha says that when one perceives the absolute truth without any potency, as I said, only the eternity part of it, then it is a Brahman realization. When one perceives the absolute truth with the material potency, who actually manages and maintains and creates and destroys, then it's a Paramatma realization. And then when one perceives the absolute truth with the material and spiritual both potencies, that there is another spiritual world where Krishna resides, he has loving exchanges with his devotees. And so that is a Bhagavan realization, and that is the complete understanding. So here in this context, Parikshit Maharaj ask a question to the sages of Naimisharanya that what is the duty of a dying, what is the duty of a person all times, and specifically one who is about to die. And Srila Sukadeva Goswami at that point suggested that Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate duty, but at that point, sages of Naimisharanya had different opinions, and they suggested Jnana, Karma, demigods worships, etc., could also be the ultimate duty. So in this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami addresses this point. He says that he talks about Ashtanga Yoga, and he explains that those who are attached, their object of meditation, their dharanashaya, could be Virata Rupa. And those who are detached, their object of meditation or their dharanashaya could be the Paramatma within the heart. Now, those who meditate Paramatma within the heart, what is their gati? What is their ultimate destination? So basically, what they do, they push the life air through the anus, all through various chakra up to the body, or to the Brahmarandra, which is the top part of the skull, and the soul emerges into the impersonal liberation. So that is the destiny of unattached yogis. Then from verses 24 to 30, Sukadeva Goswami describes that those people who are attached and who meditates on Virat form of the Lord, and they gradually processes. It is called Krama Mukti. So there are various stops, and we heard in previous verses there are various places, there are various stops that the soul passes through, and at the end they achieve impersonal liberation. And hence, word Bhagavatam is used in this word. But in order for us to understand clearly, and so that we don't get confused, Srila Prabhupada, in the very beginning of the purport, very first, like in the first few lines, he makes it clear that Bhagavatam is not the perfection of merging in. Bhagavatam perfection is not merging into rays of Brahman. And then he goes further to a higher and higher spiritual goal. He says, then he talks about entering into Vaikuntha planets. And then the rest of the purport, he emphasizes in 2 points. One, associating with the Lord on his planet is a Paramgati, and then pure devotional service by which an aspiring devotee can reach there, which is the ultimate process. So now let's focus on these 2 points. Hope I can concise everything in the time that we have left. Associating with the Lord is Paramgati. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita at few places that Yad Gatvana Nivartante Tad Dhamam Paramam. Prabhupada also quoted a verse from Bhagavad Gita 8.15 that the great Mahatma or Bhakti Yoga, after attaining my association, never come back to this material world. So why is that? What is there that once one reaches there, one doesn't want to come back? And let's try and understand it by an example of a story of a Gopakumara. A story of a Gopakumara is narrated by Srila Sanatana Goswami in Srimad Bhāgavatam. So Gopakumara was a cowherd boy, and he wanted to end all the suffering. So he consciously decided to leave this material world and return to spiritual world. He says that enough is enough. I no longer wanted to suffer the pains and pleasures of this world. So as soon as he got the chance to go to the spiritual world, he immediately grabbed it, and with enthusiasm and confidence, he started marching to our final destination. And on the way to Goloka Vrindavan, this describes his journey, that he went to the higher planets of this material world, and where he saw that there is a lots of opportunity of sense gratification was present, but he wasn't happy there. So from there he went to spiritual world. Then there are different spiritual planets. He went to Vaikuntha, then Ayodhya, then Dwarka, and then the spiritual abode where he met spiritual residents or residents of a different Vaikuntha planet who were as glorious as the Lord himself. They were all in bliss. He experienced the ultimate joy and he felt complete perfection, but he still missed something. What did he miss? He missed Krishna. He missed Brajvasis. He missed Vrindavan. That was a tinge of a dissatisfaction in the heart. And he wanted to go to Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as a cowherd boy resides. And so he desperately desired to go there. So when Krishna knows that his devotee is desperately desiring to see him, what he does, he sent a celestial plane for a Gopakumara, using which he traveled to the Goloka Dham. So Gopakumar arrives in Vrindavan. It is mentioned that, and we hear that over many classes and descriptions and purports of Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, that sages and saints and so many sadhaka, they practice thousands of years to get the glimpse of this Param Dham and this Gopakumara, just by the pure desire to see Krishna, in order to be with Krishna, could reach the glorious land of Goloka Vrindavan. So when he went there, he started searching for Krishna. He saw Brajvasis, the most exalted devotees, which we always hear, and they were so absorbed in Krishna that they were not even able to say a word. He was looking for Krishna, so he approaches an elderly man who was overwhelmed with the emotion in Krishna Prem. So he asked about Krishna, and in broken words, that elderly devotee actually shows the palace of Nanda Maharaj, who was fully illuminated. And at the entrance of that palace, Gopakumara again actually inquired with the elderly Brajvasi about Krishna. And with the heavy heart, she said that, he has stolen our heart and left his friend to friends and cows for a cow herding. And then it describes the situation of a Brajvasi. So Krishna was at home. He has just gone out to herd the cows, which he is going to return in the evening. It is like our son going to the school and coming back in the afternoon. But in that period of time, even Brajvasi was feeling so much of separation. Some were singing songs in the memory of Krishna. Some were preparing delicious preparation so that as soon as Krishna comes, they can service. Someone is just so absorbed in remembering the past time that he had met Krishna. Some were just constantly crying, and tears were flowing because Krishna was not present in front of their eyes. So that is the mood. The point I'm describing in this is that is the mood of a Vrajvasi that are there in Goloka with him. Krishna was there, just disappeared in front of their vision for a certain period of time. Now we being in a material, and I can speak for myself, when my son go for school, I don't feel like that. I know he's going to come back in the evening or in the afternoon. If he doesn't come back on the time, that's when the anxiety kicks in. But when it comes to Krishna and his devotees, the mood, the love is completely different. So then it became evening. Everyone ran towards the shore of Yamuna, looking for Krishna to come. Gopakumara was also there, and the suddenly atmosphere that was showing the mood of a separation become joyful, and everyone was looking for Krishna. Krishna comes. Brajvasi, just having that sight, it is described that just having that sight, the blurred vision of Krishna, they become stunned. They fainted. Yashoda Maya, Nanda Maharaj, and Radharani, they were also there. And they all were waiting to have the glimpse of Krishna. and suddenly the bluish boy with the yellow garment appeared. He was decorated with the forest flower and peacock feather and the flute and the dust of Raja. And after the whole day of work, when he was back, the joy of a Vrajvasis, it says that it was multiplied manifold. Now among Vrajvasi who were assembled there, Krishna also sees the Gopakumara. He stopped playing his flute, leaving his friend, leaving his cows, leaving everything that was around there. He goes to Gopakumara and he asks that I have waited you for how are you? I missed you so much. I missed you so much, Sarupa. Sarupa was his name in spiritual worlds. Krishna, seeing that Gopa in Goloka, actually called by his original name, Sarupa. I missed you so much. Every day I waited for you, hoping that you will return, hoping that you will return for one day, hoping that you will return one day for sure. And I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful. And seeing this, actually, Krishna faints in the arms of Gopakumar. Now, see how much love and care is there. It is Krishna fainting for his devotee. It is for me, I can speak, it just remains the aspiration. It's hard to fathom even. So that is the description. That is the description of a mood in Golokadham. Now, if we compare this mode with someone who is trying to achieve the happiness by merging into impersonal Brahman, where it is described in the verses that, of course, there is a happiness, but when you compare it with the joy and the love and affection in Goloka Vrindavan, it is nothing. And Prabhupada says in the purport over and over again in so many places that activity in Brahma Jyoti is basically it's an inactive stage, and so we as a soul, our nature is to remain active. Our nature is to love. Our nature is to serve. So the most appropriate place for us is to be with Krishna. And so I'm not sure if you have seen that image. Vinod Prabhu, would you be able to share that image, please? Sorry, if we can get the whole in the screen, or maybe it's me who need to expand. So if you see the image, I feel it depicts the material creation, the covering, Brahma Jyoti, Vaikuntha planets, all the way up to Goloka, completely so perfect. And how we were studying in the previous verses that when different yogis on the different path of realization meditates on the different aspects of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Prabhupada explains in the Papa that you cross different coverings in it. We can see that in the Brahmanda shape, the Anda or the oval shape, where there are different coverings, it passes through. Then there is a Karana Osha. Prabhupada mentioned in this Papa that one who focuses on the impersonal Brahman within the heart, they remain in the Karana ocean, or at the most, they go into Brahma Jyoti, where Brahma Jyoti is basically the glaring effulgence of Krishna's planet, where there is no activity. And after that, the Vaikuntha planet begins. And if we go further, there is a lotus in the middle. That's where the Goloka is. And in that, you see a beautiful line starting from the middle planet of a chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra that pierces through all the coverings of Brahmanda, Karana ocean, and Brahma Jyoti goes to Goloka straight away. So now we are given this by Mahaprabhu. How fortunate we are. How fortunate we are to have this Mahamantra in our life. And I can speak for myself, we forget the jewel that is given to us. We forget that the chanting is the ultimate process. And there are so many references where it has been mentioned, our acharyas has described this, but I feel whenever I look at this image, I feel, it depicts the gist so perfectly. So another point that in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that pure devotional service is the ultimate process by which one can reach to Goloka. And then there is in the, I think, paragraph second last paragraph, Prabhupada talks about Prabhupada refers actually the definition that Srila Rupa Goswami gave for pure devotional service, that Anyavilasitashanyam Jnana Karmana Dhyanavritam Anukulyana Krishnano Shilanam Bhakti Ruchyate. That one who aspires to be with Krishna, ones who aspire to serve Krishna, for them Gnana, so knowledge, karma, they do not, it does not include, it is a pure, it does not include even tinge of that. Prabhupada in the purport says a pure devotee is 100% devotee and nothing more. Chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita describes devotional service. Title of that chapter is devotional service. And in first text, Arjuna inquired that which are considered to be most perfect, those who are always engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship your impersonal Brahman, which is unmanifested. And from text 2 onwards, Krishna starts responding, and very next verse, text 2 of that chapter, Krishna says that those who fix my form, those who fix their mind in my personal form and always engage in worshipping me, are the great transcend, with the great faith, are considered to be most perfect. So basically, Krishna is saying that to relate with him in a personal way is the most perfect way of worshipping. So now relating with Krishna is the personal way. How do we understand it? Keshav Maharaj nicely says that to relate with Krishna is a personal way doesn't mean just to understand Krishna is Bhagwan, but it means to treat Krishna as a person. How do we practically understand? If we think of an example, and we might have seen also, there are many times young children in their all innocence, when they approach to Krishna, because they have this memory from their previous lives, or because they are taught by the parents, by the family, in their all innocence, they go either in the temple or altar in their home, they go to Krishna and they talk to him. That sometimes it could be as casual as, "Hi Krishna, how are you?" And Keshav Maharaj says that when one becomes natural in their interaction with Krishna, then actually it is the sign of developing love. So at this stage, what we are doing, we are trying to develop. Prabhupada in the purport use the word labor, the learned labor of love. Why learned labor of love? Because we were ignorant at some point of time. And slowly we are developing this understanding that slowly we are developing this understanding. We are putting things into practice to love Krishna, to understand. Love is, of course, as I say it this way, it is still a very high stage, but slowly, as we develop that feeling, that love for Krishna, that's what is pure devotional service is. And what are the processes? Yesterday in the purport, we discussed the processes that were given to us. Prabhupada mentioned that the process was chanting of the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Reading of Bhagavad Gita, reading of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. But in all these, the chanting is the ultimate process. We need to learn to chant with feeling. And when I say we, I meant it most applied to me, that we need to learn to chant with feeling. Sachinandan Maharaj shares this beautiful meditation on his website and on his Instagram pages, which are called the Living Name, and they are very good inspiration to chant with full absorptions, which there are so many. I thought it would be worth to share some so that we can apply them practically. So he says, when we chant, we focus the mind on each and every name of Mahamantra. A good way to do this is focus the mind on the first Hare Mahamantra. So first Hare of Mahamantra and the rest will follow. Another thing he says, reading a prayer or singing songs that can fill our heart with devotion and relates us from the operation of mechanical chanting. So if we read something, or if we sing a bhajan, or if we read the bhajan before chanting, then whether it is japa or whether it is kirtan, we will notice that we are more focused. There is no emptiness. Another tip that he shares, or another meditation that he shares, that start giving attention to the holy name, listen to the holy name and holy name. And we hear that that famous quote of Srila Prabhupada: sincere chanting, what is chanting means? To chant ourselves, to hear ourselves chant sincerely. That is called chanting, and that is the foundation of any service, any kirtan, any japa. And then he says this beautiful thing, that the nature of Krishna is such that whenever he sees that someone is walking on the path of Sharanagati, taking the shelter of the holy name, taking the shelter of his divine names, he will turn towards him. He will turn to the devotee and say, yes, what do you wish for? Before, during, or after japa and kirtan, actually one can read songs from Sharanagati, the prayer collection by His Holiness Bhakti Vinod Thakur Maharaj. So there are so many. I thought there are few that I can share, which we can take home and practically apply. And I realized I'm way over. There is so much more that I wanted to add, but I would stop here. If anyone would want to share anything or comment or correct, please feel free to share. Okay, we conclude our session here today. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. May you all have a blissful Krishna conscious day. Krishna willing, we see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for a lovely class, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.